Hello, my name is Tree, and I'm going to record for you guys a lovely Shogun 2 battle today. This is my opponent's army. My opponent is named Loupi, by the way. That's a really nice name. To put it quite simply, Loupi has brought a rather pretty looking army. I'd like to point out that the most important aspect of his army are these three deer. These three deer are the most powerful units in Shogun 2. They're so powerful that they only come in units of 3, and as you can see, they're going to spearhead the attack on my army. Anyway, let's get to the battle. So, the entire point of this battle that I would like to highlight is whenever you look at an army, whenever in those first maybe 15 seconds, you have to realize, what do I have to do against this army? What do I have to do against this army? So we're going to look at two things real quick before combat commences. We're going to look at his army, and then we're going to look at my army, and then I'm going to kind of walk through the logic that I used to play through this battle. So, he has 3 Naginata attendants, a bow warrior monk, a matchlock warrior monk, some really good swords, and some really good yaris. He has really heavy contingent of cav over here, while I have 2 bow cavalry, a lot of... Now I'm going to pause it because this battle starts off really quick. I have some sword attendants, some lovely sword attendants. Sword attendants are really helpful because they're super cheap. I have some warrior nuns, which are kind of out there, but they get 25 attack, which as far as I'm concerned, makes up for any deficiencies that they have. They're an insane unit. And then I have some warrior monks. So we're both carrying really elite armies at the end of the day. I also have some Naginata warrior monk cavalry, which are rather elite cavalry in their own right. But we are both carrying really elite armies here, really elite infantry heavy armies. So what matters? What do I need to use incredibly well this battle, and what do I need to prevent my opponent from using very well? What I need to prevent him from using are his matchlocks and his bow warrior monks. These 2 units are so expensive and so important, and they both can do so much more damage that it's insane. At the end of the day, we have to think about the fact that my bow cavalry is really not that expensive compared to his skirmishing contingent. So I'm immediately just going to rush, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw light cavalry at him, which is another important part of my army. Light cavalry are something that I just love to do this with, because now what's happened is, if we go down, if we look at here from the matchlock's point of view, is look at all of these allies in the way. He can't shoot these matchlocks into my guys, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to charge out with my sword attendants, and I'm just going to get into melee. And if we look at his bows as well, look at this horrible firing arc they have. They're going to have to shoot over their own guys, they're going to be hitting their own men, and they're not going to be being used with any great efficiency at all. Another incredibly important part of his army is his cavalry. His cavalry is way over here fighting my light cavalry. He's not using this contingent of his army effectively. Also, you remember how he kind of dragged his spears to the left here? That's going to be a huge advantage for me, because again, this firing arc is just so bad for him. His matchlocks can't see over this hill at the moment, by the way. You should put them more right here. But at this point, I have everything committed. I have all my troops committed into battle. And if we look at what he has committed, or what he's using effectively, he's not using his melee gen. He has a melee gen, by the way, which is one of the most powerful units in Shogun 2. He doesn't have that committed yet, probably because he has bows. You need to get into combat faster than that with a melee gen. So if we compare what I have engaged to what he has engaged, we can actually tell probably reasonably who's going to win this battle. I have all of my infantry engaged. All of it. I just have everything engaged in regards to my elite infantry. I'm holding nothing back, which means that I am quite simply all out attacking at the moment. I am just ripping him apart. He is not able to use his bow warrior monks effectively, nor is he able to use his matchlocks effectively, because he has his own troops in the way, and I've already initiated the engagement. He can't really use his cavalry against my main body of infantry that well either, because they're all Naginatas. It's just an advantage of picking Naginatas, particularly monks and nuns, because they have just such high morale. So, and he has his cavalry over here, way over here, kind of being locked in, and he's going to charge into his own guys, to be honest with you. He's not going to get in a good charge off of this unit. So if we look at that, he also has Katana Samurai over here. He's just getting some Yari Samurai engaged, but they're going to be locked down on sword attendants. The only mistake I've kind of made in this battle is that I've left my general very vulnerable. Oh, that's not the only mistake. I didn't really use my bow cavalry that well. But really, honestly, I don't need to use my bow cavalry that well, and I kind of knew that going into this battle. So, there's that. He's going to commit his general finally. And his general is just going to rip stuff apart. Imagine if that general had been engaged and being used a minute earlier. That would have made a huge difference in the battle, but as it stands, because I was committing everything at once and applying just a maximum amount of pressure on my opponent, he's just going to start to collapse. And this is why Shogun 2 is so brutal. In Attila and Rome 2, there isn't really a way to apply pressure this quickly. The kill rates just aren't as fast, and it's just a completely different beast of a game. But overall, he has Katana Cavalry almost at full strength. Reserving units, you need to know when you need to reserve units, and you need to know what elements of his army. Well, he should have. You need to know what elements of your army you need to use to beat your opponent. I could have sat back and tried to skirmish with bow cavalry, but against bow warrior monks, which his bow warrior monks are dead by the way, and against matchlock monks, there would have been no point. What he should have done, however, is he should have recognized that he needed to use those elements to their greatest effect, and he should have pulled back to a position, say, this position. This way he would have been able to fire down on me from elevation, and he would have been able to shoot over his own guys. But because I engaged him here, this is the view the matchlocks had and the bows had. There's nothing to shoot from here. And that's why my opponent lost the battle. He also should have committed his infantry all at once. If he was going to take an infantry fight, he should have committed everything all at once to try to deal with the huge amount of pressure that I was putting on him. Anyway, this battle is pretty much wrapped up. I would like to really say thank you for the game, Loupi. I don't know Loupi, but he was a really good sport. And thank you so much for the wonderful battle. And the general. Here he is. No, that's not the general. Where is he? Who cares? They're all kind of... Oh, it's just... The general's already died, actually. Oh, well, that happened. Well, that's a lovely game. You all have a lovely evening, or wherever time it is for you guys. Bye-bye.